Joining us now, John Zogby, senior analyst at Zogby Analytics and co-author of the book, First Globals, Understanding, Managing, and Unleashing Our Millennial Economy. John Zogby, welcome back to America's Forum. It is so good to have you. And we've seen some polls suggest that the president's approval ratings are up. What do your own numbers show you?
My poll out just late last night has the president at 45% approval, 51% disapproval, which is just about the average of all the polls that are out there.
Mindful of that, I'm curious about the drop in gas prices. Is President Obama getting credit for some sort of connection to that?
Oh, sure, and the blame if gas prices went up. The guy at the top is always the focal point and the one that has the unwanted suggestion box outside his office. But yeah, to be sure, there is a perception that the economy is getting better, although there are caveats there. People are not necessarily feeling it as strongly as they'd like to. And then gas prices, I mean, just look around, that's spending power right there, and people are spending.
The president is poised tonight to ask for a tax hike. Does he face any political risk by doing this?
No, very little. I mean, he faces the risk of not getting it done. But since the tax hike is focused on, mainly the highest echelon of earners in this country, that is precisely playing to his base. When I look at that 45% number, what I see is that he still has some shoring up of his own base that he has to do, and also appealing to some independents as well. But that sort of thing is red meat to the Democratic base, and so very little political risk for him.
Well, what is interesting, perhaps it's not a political risk, but it remains a political play. And look, we understand that public policy is predicated upon politics, John Zogby, but to always, in essence, punt to get ready for the next election, even though Mr. Obama's name constitutionally cannot appear on a ballot again, running for president, has that led to widespread cynicism for people who call themselves Democrats, Republicans, heck, even for those who call themselves libertarians, vegetarians, and otherwise unaffiliated?
We've gone through a period of widespread criticism, and sure, we're still in the middle of it, but we have to admit that his numbers are in fact going up. In fact, they've never gone down into the realm of where those failed presidents have had their numbers in the 20s and in the low 30s. Here is a president who some points posted a 37, 38 approval rating, was averaging through much of 2014, a 40, 41% rating, but now he's climbing up. And very importantly, he's at 45%. Congress's approval rating is at 20%. The Democrats in Congress, their approval rating is 33. The Republicans, their approval rating is 27. So he's still doing better out there than anybody else.
Fair enough, John. Listen, we're going to ask you to stay through the break. And when we come back, we're going to look ahead to 2016, since apparently the president is, at least in terms of setting the stage for a political argument, he believes that he, or at least his side, can win. The State of the Union tonight as a prelude for 2016. The subject we'll discuss with pollster John Zogby as America's Forum continues here on Newsmax TV. With the senior analyst from Zogby Analytics, John Zogby. John, as promised, since it appears rather than in a governing mode, it's still a campaign mode. Let's take a look at the 2016 presidential contest as we welcome you back in from Utica, New York, John. There is a poll that's put together for NBC News and the Wall Street Journal. If memory serves, Celinda Lake for the Democrats and Bill McIntyre for the Republicans do this bipartisan poll. What we're looking at on the screen is the reaction to three possible candidates for president. On the Republican side, Mitt Romney and Jeb Bush. And we see on the screen that their negative numbers exceed their positive numbers. For Mitt Romney, 40% negative, 27% positive. For Jeb Bush, 32% negative, 19% positive. And when you come to Democrat Hillary Clinton, she is perceived by the Americans polled as 45% positive, 37% negative. I realize it's early. I realize you did not conduct the poll. But when you hear that about Hillary, why do you think her positives outweigh her negatives?
I think one of the factors clearly is that she's a woman, and she's the woman. I think also there's a level of familiarity with her. She's been in office recently. And then thirdly, she hasn't said anything, in the last year or so, at least anything of any great impact that would cause any real negatives. Meanwhile, I think more than anything else, it's a fact that Democrats have a distinct advantage demographically with the national electorate, and Republicans are on the ropes with the national electorate by virtue of simple demographics.
Well, maybe we take a look at demographics. You said something earlier about the feminine factor in this race, the fact that Hillary is a woman. We have not had a female president. Is there ever a backlash against her candidacy as this campaign moves along into 2016?
Oh, there will be. Oh, to be sure. Once she gets out there, she will be scrutinized like any other candidate is scrutinized. We saw that a bit, during her book tour. And in fact, her numbers went down. Her numbers are down actually from where they were when she left as Secretary of State. But the more she gets out there, the more opportunities there are for her to say the wrong thing, do the wrong thing. And the myriads of Clintonian hanger-ons and consultants to say and do the wrong thing. So, expect a very competitive race, I think.
Well, mindful of that, what was it? William McKinley, because his wife was sick, ran what was called a front porch campaign. Granted, that is more than a century ago, but will it be the mission of Team Clinton to limit access to the First Lady?
Oh, they may try to do that, but you could run a front porch campaign 100 years ago. You can't do that anymore. People demand. There is so much media. There is handheld, personal media. Candidates have to be out there. They have to press the flesh. They have to be seen. They have to be heard. They have to be scrutinized. And if they attempt a front porch campaign, that would be a huge, huge mistake. It would be as big a sign of contempt in 2016 as her attempt 4 years ago with a sense of entitlement, that mainly by her people, more so than her. Come on, let's get this over with. Everybody knows I'm going to win. You saw that did not play very well. She's going to have to fight to get back into the White House. It's not assured.
A minute remains. Let's take 45 seconds on the Republican side. Do Mitt Romney and Jeb Bush end up canceling each other out as representatives of the establishment?
No, not necessarily. I think Chris Christie is still strong, and then you also have a multiple conservative split as well. So whatever establishment split you may have, the conservatives are going to cannibalize each other as well. So this is wide open. I can tell you I'm going to be releasing this at the end of the week, but there's very good news in the poll I'm releasing for Marco Rubio, who's now in the top tier.
Well, with that preview, I know Team Rubio is listening, so John Zogby will have to have you back. John Zogby, senior analyst at Zogby Analytics and co-author of the book First Millennials, Understanding, Managing, and Unleashing Our Millennial generation. Our thanks to John, and a reminder to watch Newsmax TV's special coverage of the State of the Union address beginning tonight at 9 Eastern, 6 o'clock Pacific time. America's Forum will continue right after this.